asset? Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
This is Discover Crypto, and I'm going to turn on the light in a second. Every day on the channel, we teach you about digital assets. I'm your host, DZ. I'm here with Josh, and we got a special metaverse episode today, Josh. Josh, how are you doing today?
Doing good. I didn't really, your lights were off there, DZ.
I'm dark on this side. I'm going to fix it in a second, folks. Don't you worry. But Bitcoin making some major moves. Bitcoin decided to start dumping this morning after it started pumping in the wee hours of the twilight here. We're going to go ahead and pull up the charts. Yeah, you can see Bitcoin started right around 1 a.m., a little shortly after midnight Eastern Standard Time. So maybe about 10 p.m. for those on the West Coast. And Bitcoin had a huge run up. So again, we're looking at the 5-minute candles. You know, there's $1,000. There's another $1,000, and Bitcoin ended up pumping about $2,200 over about 3 hours, and then just started to go on a tailspin to the downside. Looks like it started around 9 this morning. So we always see these reversals right here, right at the top of the hour, sometimes 9:30, sometimes 10:30. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see the patented 10:30 turnaround. Josh, where the market's showing you?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely ran up through the after hours there in the nights. What was interesting was watching Ethereum again, just sitting still at 25.24. Bitcoin just gaining back quite a bit of dominance last night is all that was. I mean, it is now at 65.02%. So still just goes to show, if you're not Bitcoin heavy, like we've been saying and screaming for weeks and months and months and months and months, yeah, it just absolutely ripped here in the after hours here last evening here. That was on a federal holiday. So, you know, we're back open with the markets here Friday, but it is just Friday. So it's kind of weird to me. I mean, it's like a random market close, middle of the week, no futures contracts. And then now, you know, we're open, but we're going to be closing again. So, you know, it's kind of it's an interesting market here, but we got everything to break down in today's show on why this happened. So
no, you brought up Ethereum. I like Miles' tweet right here, the current state of the market, and he pointed out ETH and just kind of stuck in this hellish range, this hellish just bounded area. It just cannot go below this area, cannot go above this area. We had a little bit of a spike. Now, Vitalik was asked about the state of Ethereum, and the only thing he had to say, he just started dancing, Josh. You know, we're just wondering, when the hell is ETH going to turn around against Bitcoin? And this man's just dropping a groove.
I mean, it's
mesmerizing, isn't it?
It's mesmerizing. I mean, that's why we are just absolutely stagnant. Dude, that's actually reminds me of like the SpongeBob jellyfish dance.
I mean, Vitalik's got moves, y'all. Vitalik's got moves. Now, we did have someone asking in the chat here. We talk about Aerodome today. Aerodome, making fun of last night's video. So in this video, I might even go ahead and show. I highly recommend you go check out this video. I cover the first time we actually talked about Aerodrome. Let me hit the skip ad. Boom, there we go. I actually mispronounced it, Josh. I said Aerodome. It was so early, and we were covering Aerodrome at 80 cents. That's me talking about Aerodrome way back there. So go watch this. Now, he did ask for the long-term price prediction. I did a short-term price prediction. Do you have a long-term price prediction for Aero?
On Aerodrome, I mean, I definitely think it's going to reach a few dollars again. I don't know if you're looking at a $10 price prediction with that video, but the Aerodrome is and has been the Iron Dome, is probably why you got it confused with everything that's going on in the Middle East of crypto.
It's my Chrome Dome. That's what it was.
It's like, despite Bitcoin absolutely, tanking here. I mean, it did definitely pull back from the 96 cents that it just hit. But this is just in anticipation of the new market here with all the liquidity, as it's going to be the liquidity hub for Coinbase. So absolutely huge project there for us in the DeFi.
All right, well, let's look at the rest of the market. You know, we saw that little bit of a turnaround on Bitcoin. ETH is down even more. It's down 1.3%. Nothing compared to Fartcoin and SPX, which were both down around 10% about 15 minutes ago. That was a very scary moment there. But if we look here, we can see the biggest losers: SPX, Fartcoin, Sonic, and Sky. Render also with a little bit of a pullback. Biggest gainers: Kaya, Say, Stacks. Josh, looks like Bitcoin L2s and Bitcoin DeFi getting a little more popular. Gate and then Pi Network. But if we go back to the top 10 here, you can see no major moves except, Solana with a little bit of a pump here. Cardano's flat, Dogecoin's flat, and Tron is flat. All of those coins looking like stable. Even XRP, nothing is moving more than 0.1%. So very, very indecisive market at the moment. Even SWE's in the 0.1 camp. Bitcoin Cash in the 0.1 camp. So many tokens at 0 or 0.1% here, Josh, on the 24 hour is almost shocking.
Yeah, I mean, everything is SWE's down. Ondo's I mean, everything's down. I'm looking on the red side. Like, you're looking at Arrow's down, probably the biggest here today. Everything's moving into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is absorbing all of that liquidity. This is what institutions are going to continuously do until we get that alt season finally, actually take place here. But now we're looking like the SWE chart's quite interesting as well. If you pull up SWE, if we don't hold this level, you're probably going to be going back down to $1 and, maybe not $1.80, but definitely like the lower $2 range.
Oh yeah, definitely important level here. If we throw down the horizontal line here, just kind of see what we're seeing in the market. So this is the price action where we're at today, right around 282. You can see that's exactly where a little mini bull market there popped off. This was March 27th earlier this year, and discounting the wick, also another little area of support previously, and we're seeing even more wicks. So where it wicks, they say it will stick. And SWE, really, really important area. But when you zoom out, I mean, I'm liking this chart here, although I do wish it had a higher high relative, except for the lower high here. But still, I will say SWE has a good shot at hitting $10 this year. That seems pretty far-fetched, but I don't know. What do you think? $10 SWE 2025? Is it possible?
Yeah, I would love to see my $5 SWE again. That would be that's my ideal target there. But yeah, I think, you could see all-time highs when this alt season does, actually come back into this market. But right now, what really matters right now isn't, hoping and praying our altcoins are going to go back to all-time highs. It's, again, just realizing, like, if you're starting to accumulate a portfolio, it's, for me, I'm going to be trading a lot more. Like, we're just trading, low leverage, Ethereum, Bitcoin in the Discord, taking advantage of the consistency. Look at Ethereum, right? Like, if you're in Bitcoin or Ethereum, your portfolio is a juggernaut. If you're allocated not to any Bitcoin or Ethereum and you're only in altcoins, your portfolio looks like a slushy, and that slushy used to, I don't even know if that's the right terminology, but I think it's you're bleeding right now. And so it's kind of one of those, unless you got in, like when we were telling everybody back in, March, or what was that? March, April, when Bitcoin came down to these levels and SWE was at $2.28. Ondo, back to almost those levels in April. If you're buying a dollar cost averaging into these ranges when Bitcoin was under 80K, which is when we have just dozens of videos on buy. That was the opportunity. So like now is like, okay, are we going to hold this last channel of support, or is total 2 or total 3 about to really crack down again as Bitcoin dominance just pushes up? And people need to realize now, like, look at last night, right? Bitcoin went up $2,200 and then just ate away all that liquidity, and altcoins didn't move at all. And so this is a good reminder that even if Bitcoin goes to 111K, 115K, hell, 130K, you just might not be getting that, $5,000 Ethereum, that $5 SWE, that $4 XRP, even though, Bitcoin is breaking in the price discovery because of the Bitcoin dominance market.
Now I want to get into the chat a little bit here. Yeah, it's definitely going to see a lot more Bitcoin dominance. People bringing up MicroStrategy. They're going to be part of that conversation for sure. We got some MicroStrategy news. 16 billion emails were compromised. Yeah, we did a little short on that. I want to add a little clarification here for the people out there. It's not as bad as a lot of people were assuming. There's a lot of confusion. So let me clarify some misleading things. It's not a new hack, not a new leak. No, Facebook, Apple, Google were not targeted because this was not an attack. Researchers searched the internet for stores of previously hacked credentials that are available. They found, if taken at their word, again, no clarification, there's a lot more credentials hanging around as a result of prior hacks than we previously knew about. So this number here is a total of everything they found. Just the companies listed are examples of the kinds of credentials that were found. And this actually ended up getting some notes here. The Dexera, the 16 billion password, claims to originate from a Cyber News article that doesn't list any sources and appears to include AI written quotes. So still a lot of passwords out there floating around, but not as bad as a lot of people were originally assuming. Now let's get into Bitcoin here. I wasn't even aware. I thought that was like a fresh hack, John. I don't know. I just kind of learned that this morning. But Bitcoin, let's talk about the title here. What is going on with Trump? What is Trump's plans to dump Bitcoin? Well, it's a 14-day timeline, so we might have some very, very deep red candles in the short term here. So Donald Trump, he ruled out an immediate entry into the Israeli-Iranian war, saying he might wait, and this is the timeline, 2 more weeks before he decides whether or not to add U.S. firepower to the conflict. Now, the comments reduce the odds of the military action before the end of this month on Polymarket, and so there's the Polymarket bet. Do we see U.S. forces in June? That went from 70% to 40%, but if you expand it to July, the odds still came down. It's now sitting around 62% odds we're going to see U.S. military intervention in the next month. While the immediate prospect of intervention may have diminished, the fact that this is reportedly a 2-week hiatus means it will remain a live issue for the markets going into next week. Now, Crypto Quant warns Bitcoin could drop to $92,000 or lower if demand fails to rebound. ETF flows are down 60% since April. Whale buying has slowed in half, and short-term holders have now dumped 800,000 Bitcoin since late May. So stay alert there. What do you think on this 2-week? I mean, can we find a road to peace in this 2 weeks? Or are we looking at, a mini bear market in a half month?
Mini bear, interesting.
And think about 4th of July, is historically very low liquidity. If we look at last year's 4th of July and the year before that 4th of July, coincided with some pretty red candles. This was 4th of July. That's the August 5th. I've done that before. 4th of July weekend, look at the insane red wicks. We ended up seeing worse ones in August, but that 4th of July ended up being very volatile market, very bad time to be trading. And then this 4th of July, if you look, I mean, you can see the doji candles there. It's a pretty insane trading period. Summers already have lower volume. Holiday weekends lower the volume even more. And we have this potential timeline brewing in the horizon, Josh.
Yeah, again, that was my bad. I was looking to open a short here, but I think we missed out this morning after just the market research. But ultimately,
I had a fart short and I closed it early.
Yeah, it's all
mad at myself.
You closed it early.
I know, man.
I was wondering if you had a Farcoin trade open this morning, but yeah, no, this goes back to what we were saying. I know I was getting kind of raked through for suggesting that we wouldn't have that alt season over the summer, and it just it's all going to depend on, unfortunately, macro events right now. Like if you're looking at the charts here, like this potentially a double top is what maybe some people are watching on the daily for Bitcoin here, and it's getting ugly. But again, when you look at the stochastics, the RSI, the MACD. There are some bull divs that are rotating and also some overextended conversations you can have from a technical standpoint. So even the charts are like, okay, if the charts are it's 60-40, whether it's going lower or 50-50 going lower here, you look at your volume, you look at your liquidity, which I always trade with through, FOMO mode is, you have tons of liquidity back up towards 112K. This sadly and unfortunately means it's going to really rely on the Federal Reserve and Donald Trump. And, right now markets are worried. You could see it in oil prices over the last few days, just absolutely rip it up here with, of course, the Iran-Israel war in the Middle East, whether or not we're going to actually intervene. There was a news article yesterday saying, quoting from White House officials, that Donald Trump's going to figure out whether or not we're going to join the war with boots on the grounds within 2 weeks. Now, again, we're hoping we don't see that. We don't expect that. We don't know anything on what's going to be the outcome of that. But that's going to cause uncertainty, right? That's why oil is spiking. That's going to bring up concerns of inflation, which is finally at a level where wages are competing with it and allowing us to, see more upside in the markets. That's why the SPX was running up. But now the SPX, again, today, we're going to cover this in a few more stories here in just a second. But there's a bunch of data reports that, again, it's starting to pull it down. So can the SPX come down to 58.40? Of course, especially with what's going on in the Middle East here. And then when you look at the dollar here, the dollar also has a bit of a bullish divergence, especially on the RSI and the stochastic, which if the dollar starting to pump here, if you guys don't know this in chat, usually when the dollar pumps, Bitcoin tends to dump. Altcoins tend to dump. And that's because people are leaving risk on assets in that case and storing it in that dollar itself. So a lot of things to pay attention to here. I will get through a few articles. I'll pull up some more macro reports, but really it just goes back to what I've been saying nonstop is like, if you're not in that 50, 25, 25 portfolio, which we've been talking about since January, is really just, it's going to be rough. You're dealing with a Bitcoin based market right now, which is highly dominating and just absorbing liquidity from altcoins until we get certainty back in the market. Until then, it's like you're pretty much just betting that you're hoping to God Donald Trump doesn't come out that day and drop like some crazy ass tweet, and just all of a sudden shock your market.
Well, it looks like it might have happened, Josh, because the markets are going a little nuts right now. Let me add this.
The Donald Trump tweet. So.
No, check this out. This is the 1 minute chart on Bitcoin. We have totally erased all of the gains that we had started from the previous, I would say, early morning there. And this is, remember, we started at 10:30, 10:35. We started the stream right here, and we have now already plummeted that far in the meantime here. So Bitcoin just not finding a bottom. The 1 minute candles just keep going lower and lower and lower and lower. I will say, as a trader, I love a little liquidity grab right or below this level. It looks like it might have just hit it, Josh. If it was, almost want to just go crazy with a little 50x on Bitcoin. That just feels so weird, but I definitely like a little bit of a long right here in this range. So something to keep an eye out. Let's talk about some of the next levels, 94K or 114K as the next move. A recent poll on X shows that half of the respondents bet it would go to 114. The other half fell to well below 100. That's just a broad, 50-50. It was a lot closer than that than I was originally expecting. 50.2% predicted to drop to 94,000. 49.8% expected to rise to 114, over 1,000 votes. So the market's decidedly split at the 94 or 114. So I want to throw it to the chat. And Josh, I want you to get your prediction in as well. Where are we heading first? Because this is the literal line in the sand. 50% of the people thinking one way, 50% going the other way. Maybe a little different now after these red candles here. Are you feeling 94 or 114 first?
Man, that's a hard question there, brother. That's a hard question.
It's literal the 50-50 line in the sand here.
Again, let's actually pull up the futures market here. And someone in that chat actually made a good point too. Yeah, guys, sometimes I do forget that a lot of people just buy and hold, and I'm out here trading every single day, especially with the Discord, which is just fun. But yeah, if you're buying and holding, I mean, no one that's buying and holding Bitcoin or Ethereum right now are really too concerned. I mean, if you're on the daily time frame, like shout out to you guys, like DCA, the altcoins you believe are going to crush it this next cycle. Because yeah, I mean, look at, if you're at Ether Bitcoin, you're really just DC. Your portfolio is not like, it's stagnant, right? It's sideways at this point. But what I would say, DZ, is, man, that's hard. 94 or 114. 94 or 114.
94 or 114. It's 50-50.
Yeah, I can't I can't predict that future, but I'm still watching these targets, which would be just brutal if we come down to these, which is the futures gaps on Bitcoins, which are at 96K and 91.8. So, I mean, I really don't want to see these first. I would like to see 114K first, but I'd say both are right now, unless market conditions shift. We just need to see the Iran war actually settled. So that way there's no threats over inflation with the Strait of Hormuz.
Now we got that 2 week horizon though, where things might explode. It's like a balloon. Is that balloon going to pop? Is it going to rise to nothing? We don't really know.
It's just like when, for example, if you go to FedWatch, right? When we were talking about the 25 basis point rate cut, and then we had to change our opinion as soon as Trump dropped the 90-day tariff conversation with China there. It moved all the tariff conversation to September. So the likelihood of a 25 basis point rate cut in September is still 59. This is about 70%. So it just moved it by 3 months or 3 different FOMC meetings with that extension of the trade war deals. So it's like, even at the same time, we still have all these trade war discussions. People don't realize this. I think it's July 9th or July 4th. It's like not July 4th, but it's one of those days between that range that we're going to have to see if Trump's going to extend the tariffs again, because the tariffs are going to start actually going through unless these trade deals happen. So there's so much on the macro timeline that it's an interesting market, man. It's a very interesting market here.
Speaking of interesting market, looking at Bitcoin on the 1 minute, it is still dropping, everybody. Let me go ahead and pull this up, add it to the stage. Look at this 1 minute. There's just not a bottom on this thing. It just keeps dropping and dropping and dropping. Josh, while you were talking, I might have to we might have to drop in some farts, everybody. So keep an eye. We'll see. Now, this is kind of nuts. The same article here. People are very, very bullish. Some Bitcoiners are unsure whether bear markets are still a thing. Michael Saylor, he just said about a week ago that the bear market will not return for Bitcoin. Other analysts and also sure Rec Capital said it's very likely one will occur after this bull market. Now, some are betting on the 130 to 135 area, Q3. Where's Arthur Hayes? He's saying 250 by the end of the year still. I still definitely think we're going to get a bear market, folks, if you want to know. Now, BlackRock ETFs, this could be a reason why we don't see one. ETFs are now at 3.25% of the Bitcoin supply as the new money dries up here. So they have about 70 billion, 69 billion worth of Bitcoin through the iShares. This is 3.25% of the total Bitcoin supply. But the IBIT is only 50% of the Bitcoin ETFs. And so combined, Bitcoin ETFs on Wall Street hold 6.12% of the current Bitcoin supply, according to Dune Analytics. Now, this comes amid sustained inflows. ETFs have now logged 8 consecutive days of positive flows, bringing in 388 million just on Wednesday. And if we scroll here, Glassnode showing large value transfers are now dominating the Bitcoin network activity. The average transaction size on the Bitcoin network is now $36,000, and transactions exceeding 100,000 now account for 90% of the network activity. So it's a lot of big whales using the Bitcoin network there. Now, if this does weaken, the next support, according to, I think, CryptoQuant, 92,000. And that's going to be the realized price, the on-chain realized price. So that's going to be the average price for last Bitcoin that had been moved around there. Now, let's just go back. Wow, this 1 minute candle, it is just not stopping, Josh. This thing just goes lower and lower and lower. Is Bitcoin going to find a bottom during this stream? I mean, what are you thinking? Are we going to set in a new low and short-term low and go below 103,440 here? Are you shorting? You want to short?
I'll pull it up. Not right now. No, it's the wife's birthday, so I can't be at the PC all day. So
now, how did the dog go? Did you get everything cleaned? You know, we brought up the dog. It sprayed fecal matter everywhere. It was liquid.
Yeah, dog's feeling better today. He still has the squirts. So like last night, we had to wake up at like 5 a.m. because he was like begging to get out, and then we took him downstairs. He couldn't hold it, but at least he did it on the the hardwood, the hard floor. So it was easy to clean up, and then we had to wash him again. But he's almost there. He looks way better today. He's actually walking around. He's actually excited. But what is that excited? I do want to talk about something that's really cool here. So we got a super chat here. That's when Israel will finish the work with Iran, the Bitcoin will surge. The sooner that Trump will do that, the better. Waiting for the greatest 4th of July ever. Love your channel. Thank you for the super chat. Much love for the just much love. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. Thank you for the super chat. And yeah, it's I don't think only that's gonna stop it though, right? I don't think Israel and Iran's war closing is gonna be enough to just continuously push it. Like I think that'll be very bullish. But we'll see. I'm very excited. We'll see if they actually wrap that up. Hopefully, we'll see that here maybe early this next week. But this is insane. I want to just point this out. So for people that are like bearish, again, it's like look out on the macro scale, like what's happening, like fundamentally what's happening in these markets. If you check out my screen here, you're looking at Hive, Bitcoin's blockchain mining company.
Oh, I thought that's how they find our Tesla batteries.
I mean, almost. I mean, it's pretty.
Oh yeah, there's no kids working.
Yeah, just well,
that's right.
We allegedly construction progress though here of 100 megawatt hydroelectric Hive Bitcoin mine in Iguazu, Paraguay. Again, I just want to look how big this Bitcoin mining farm is. It's not even built yet. They're going to start mining Bitcoin and doing this means they took on the debt. They bought all this equipment. They're building this 100 megawatt hydroelectric Hive Bitcoin farm at $115,000 or $104,000. BlackRock's buying at $104,000. So I'm going to ask chat here, like one or two, one, if you believe, or actually say just yes or no. Do you believe this market just simply manipulated? Because what we could also be just seeing is with the hedge funds and their AIs and everything that they have is they're just going to take advantage of the market psychology, suck out altcoin liquidity until they're ready to rotate the ETH Bitcoin chart. which means until they're ready to, maybe Bitcoin's at 114K, then they flip that switch when retail's
Well, what would you say
Bitcoin.
to, like, at least for BlackRock's ETH ETFs? It has been performing better, maybe not as far as dollars coming in, but as far as consecutive inflow days, the ETH ETFs have been outperforming the Bitcoin ETFs over the last month or so. So has the big money already started the money shift, which then may play out in the markets over the next month or two?
I mean, I would just look at the chart here, which would be this ETH-BTC chart here, which
Don't be looking at that chart though.
Yeah, arguably, maybe there was some pickups here when we first saw it from May. Because this is an interesting chart, right? Because if you go look at and at least on the daily time frame, right? If we're looking at a daily time frame, like, are we about to lose this and then come back down and ETH's about to go home, maybe double bottom around the 0.018 level? Or is it like, again, like you just mentioned, it has the ETFs now that BlackRock interest. If you pull up ETH ADA, ETH XRP, ETH Sol, ETH SWI, they're just bleeding today. So it's also just a good moment to your point here, DZ, is that moment coming? And what I would like to see is, I've drawn this out. We've been following this forever. I mean, I think I've had this since the channel was created back in like 2022. But ultimately, I would like to see us get back into this channel so we can at least say, oh, well, at least ETH's more than likely going to trek back towards that 0.03. And this would mean probably some positive upside action in that market, or even the halfway mark on this parallel to a 0.02 level there. So that's possible. But again, we need that liquidity to start entering the market. But yeah, BlackRock's interest is there.
We got another super chat here. Israel should sit down and not start wars and drag the U.S. into it so the world breathes a little. By the way, Josh, Federal Reserve Governor Christopher Waller, not Christopher Walken, said rate cuts early July. Yeah, we did see that. It said might see some rate cuts as soon as July. And we did get the fart long in. I noticed that the wicks went a little bit higher. And so you can see the wick a little bit lower here. So it wicks a little bit higher. So it's a slightly higher low. By no means use this as some, let's just YOLO in. But I mean, we're already up 31%. Let's now I'm going to read this article, go back to it, and we'll be liquidated. So that's Fartcoin in a nutshell. So I do not recommend copy trading DZ during these live streams. Let's read this article here. Arizona now closer to creating the Bitcoin reserve as the bill passes the final Senate vote. Speaking of Bitcoin reserve, we got an interview with People's Reserve. It's a Bitcoin loan company. Interview with the CEO coming out this weekend. Definitely going to want to hear that. But Arizona is now closer to a reserves fund for Bitcoin after the Senate voted in favor. The legislation now goes back to the House for the final decision. Then, of course, has to be signed by the governor. It would update. And I did some research. I working from home today, so I didn't have a 35, 40-minute commute. I was able to spend that time this morning doing some research. So this is updating Arizona's laws on forfeiture, allowing the state to hold abandoned digital assets as unclaimed property. And I did the deep dive, so you don't have to. Now, the only states that have completed the legislative process is New Hampshire, but like Arizona, a bill in Texas also in the final stages. Now, this is a little bit of a boring slog that I went through, but I found the impactful paragraph, so you don't have to. I found the bill, I found the introduced version. I'm like firing up the PDF reader, went through it, I dug through it. It took me a few pages here, several pages, but then I found it, and this is so basically any payment that has been outstanding for more than 3 years after it was payable or after the issuance. Now, after that, they're going to have they could communicate in writing. After that, though, they're taking your Bitcoin. So if there's some unclaimed money, you ever see those websites? It's like, so many Americans have unclaimed taxes. Unclaimed money. They're going to give you 3 years. They're going to send out a letter to your old address. If you don't claim that, Arizona might market buy Bitcoin with those funds. This is major, major news that a lot of people aren't talking about. We've heard, all right, criminal civil forfeitures. You got the drug dealer. We steal his cash, and then I shouldn't say steal. We confiscate his cash, and we buy Bitcoin. But now we're talking about a whole new avenue of Bitcoin buy pressure here. So I haven't heard many people talk about. I don't think many channels are going deep diving into these PDFs. But Josh, what do you think of this, man? This is pretty. I would say this is major news.
I mean, again, it goes down to. What's your opinion on it? Let me get your opinion first.
I honestly don't know how much taxpayer is unclaimed. I know there's you see the impound lot, there's the Dodge Charger on rims. There's, maybe a sports car. There's the drug dealers' bank accounts. Those get seized, safety deposit box. But I would imagine there is a lot of unclaimed taxes, especially dead citizens. You know, the children, they're taking care of the estate. They might not know about some unclaimed tax bill. They're not living in that house. They sold that house to the new owners. And so I would imagine this could be probably higher. My gut says this should be higher than civil forfeitures.
Okay, so you like the idea.
I love the idea. I mean, if it's not claimed, I mean, will it incentivize the state to not let you know that you have money? Isn't that already the case? That's already the case, though. I don't think that's changing. That's already the case.
Yeah, I'd have to dive, and that's kind of my point here too. Is like I'd have to dive more into exactly what the repercussions would be out of it. But you know, it's any way to get more. Probably too many. No, not too
more
many,
every day.
It's more every single day. I think there'll be a lot in 10 years. You know, or a lot in 20 years. We're still very early. You know, like if people are dying holding Bitcoin, they're young, so it's a short life there. Or they're being kidnapped, which is also
or they're an athlete and they collapsed on the field. Oh, I should go there. All right. Similar Scientific just did a pretty big strategy here. They now have a 3-year plan to hold 100,000 Bitcoin. Here's the stats. So they want to increase the stack 28x in the next 2.5 years, going from 3,800 Bitcoin to 105,000 Bitcoin. They want 10,000 by the end of this year, 42,000 by the end of 26, and 105,000 by 2027. They use equity, debt financing, and their cash flow to reach this target. And they got a new director to lead the plan. Now, this would mean they would hold 0.5% of the 21 million supply. Metaplanet also said they plan to get to 110,000, which would be 1% by 2027. So we're seeing the corporations, the races here. They're all trying to be FOMOing into this. I pulled up the list here. The thing you need to look at is the market cap. And this is the percentage of Bitcoin relative to their market cap. For every $100 in the MicroStrategy market cap, $60 is Bitcoin. Some of these are above $100. So their market cap is 10 billion, but they have 10 billion and 100 million in Bitcoin. And so Marathon Digital, I want to throw that one on the radar. US, was it CN, or is it Next Technologies? A similar Scientific, now at 98%. And so something interesting to take a look at here. I don't have no idea what's going on with this 1,100%. I mean, their market cap's $10 and they have $100 in Bitcoin. This might be worth some more research. This makes me want to buy more Marathon. I will say.
We should also do a video on like upcoming IPOs, because if you like pull up Coin or Robinhood or like
I mean, Circle,
it's like they're still going up and up and up. So it's also interesting to see that
13% today.
Could institutions be sucking liquidity out of altcoins and just rotating it into stocks?
I mean,
interesting thought there.
I don't know if they're rotating liquidity. Maybe they're changing the money they would spend in the future. So they're not like, it's not like people are selling Bitcoin to buy Circle stock. To actually, Kathy Wood isn't she? Kathy Wood is. Yeah. I guess there are some on the fringes. Yeah, there's people selling the IBIT ETFs is really what's happening here.
Yeah. It's interesting little kind of, I'd say game theory thought process there. We are getting a bounce here, so if you're in that fart long,
I'm still in it. It's fart's not bouncing as strong. Fart is up. We're still at a 31% profit there. If we go to Bitcoin, let's go to the 1 minute. Yeah, we're seeing a little, nice little rebound there. So is this rebound going to be the real rebound, or is it going to look something like this? Are we ready for the next leg to the downside? Interestingly, we're coming right to this little area of support there. So something to pay attention to there. You ready to talk about criminals?
I'm ready to talk about crime.
This is insane. Texas cop. They cut open a crypto ATM to recover money lost to a scam. This is kind of messed up. So it was a county sheriff in Texas. He grabbed a power cutting tool to a crypto ATM after a family was scammed out of $25,000. This is sparking the debate over the sense of his actions. So the scammer tricked the family in Jasper County. Shout out to Texas, northwest of Houston. Yeah, H-Town. So they tricked the family into depositing funds in a local Bitcoin ATM. They did this by impersonating a government employee. So the county sheriff secured a search warrant, freaking cut open the ATM, which photos show is being branded as a Bitcoin depot, to recoup approximately $32,000. including the $25,000 paid to the scammer. So they put in $25,000 in this ATM. The ATM has $32,000, and it looks like the cops maybe pocketed the extra $7,000. Now, he claimed that the scam caller told the family they owed $25,000 in fines. And of course, how governments always do, they instructed them to deposit the money into a Bitcoin address, with the family then using the local Bitcoin ATM to transfer the funds. Now, shouldn't go disco fam. You're smarter than that. No government employee would ever ask you to send Bitcoin to a Bitcoin ATM or cash to a Bitcoin ATM. Sounds like maybe government employees. This is so crypto users are questioning the cops' tactics. Sounds like the government employees destroyed an innocent third party's property and stole his money. It's like confiscating all the money out of a CVS register after someone bought a bunch of gift cards to send them to scammers, they added. Now, the cop was interviewed at the site, and they were saying, they asked him about this. He said no comment. No comment from the cop there. So, I don't know. He looks suspiciously familiar there, Josh. What are your thoughts of this? I mean, obviously, this is not right. You shouldn't. I mean, it sucks that they lost money, but you can't break open someone's private property to retrieve this cash, right? Am I alone in this thought?
Is there someone you could call to get that cash?
I mean, I guess you got to call Bitcoin Depot, but at that point, I mean,
I'd rather
why
break
couldn't
in and pay
everyone
the
just
fine.
say, say I buy a car from you and you're like, all right, well, give me 20,000 in Bitcoin. I'm like, okay, here's your 20,000 Bitcoin. What's to stop you from just calling the cops and be like, I was scammed out of my life savings? So for that reason, I say, no, you cannot cut it open. I'm sorry you lost 25K. Them are the breaks. And I hate to be cold and callous.
It's kind of wild, man. Yeah, I don't know. What would you do in that situation?
From the ATM owner. I mean, you got to say, I'm sorry, you're trash, kid. Get good. No, I mean, you say, I'm sorry.
I don't know the what do you call it? I don't know if the cop knows that the city has to pay for it. So he's like, yeah, I'll just do this.
It's kind of like when the government went into the safety deposit box and confiscated stuff. I think that was Arizona, I believe. Yeah, we covered that as well. Yeah,
what
this
would
is
you
just
do as
theft.
a cop, DZ?
You apologize to the family for being scammed, and you say contact your local FBI because this is a cybercrime. This is wire fraud, and we're a county department, and we don't handle international wire fraud. I would
pull out the 9 mil and just shoot open the locks, and I'd just hop. No, I'm just kidding. I would not do that. That'd be some super.
I mean, it's definitely
stuff.
destroying someone's private property, though.
Yeah.
I would say that I don't like analogy think, but the CVS register is a good example of this is kind of messed up. Cop had the right idea till the ATM owner and Bitcoin owners still got screwed. Yeah, the scammer got screwed, right? The scammer got screwed.
But,
let's see.
I mean, the Bitcoin ATM owner could sue the city, and now he's making profit actually this cycle.
Someone's asking a good question. How much is the machine worth? Someone's saying
true.
FOMO making them cash right now. They're
let's go, baby.
There. We love that. We love that. I'd take the ATM and hack it, send it to myself there. Man, messed up. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's the cop's fault. He shouldn't have cut it open, man.
I'm looking at liquidations right now. On the 24-hour,
the U.S. debt liquidation.
Well, not quite. My dog's liquidations downstairs.
Oh, the other one.
No, the retail liquidations. It does look like just market making. So if you're on FOMO, like what he meant by that is, we just trade liquidation ranges. And if you look at the 12-hour time frame here, it's probably gonna be there's none below us. It's actually up toward. So this also, and it seems like, so I'm trying to figure out why did markets move like this last 24 hours? Heavily institutionally manipulated, and you have now tons of liquidity up to 107,000, almost 108,000. Also, if you're on FOMO, guys, not a lot of people know about this new feature just yet. We are going to add a drop-down menu for it, so you know it's here. But if you actually click on this expansion menu on the tab, TradingView is now completely integrated into the platform. Very smooth, very seamless. You have, all the way to from your 1 to 15 minutes. Everything that you guys are looking for on your traditional markets, you guys can actually do directly within TradingView now. Even set up your long positions, etc. So that's now fully integrated. And then, of course, this is my customized widget just on the front end. But yeah, this is what I would be paying attention to primarily right now is going to be that liquidations all the way up to $107,000. That is looking very, very good for a long position that DZ might already be in with his fart coin.
I closed it. Damn
it, DZ, you're closing too close.
15%. Dude, it's fart coin, man. Bitcoin could pump $1,000 and fart coin to go bing with a little red candle. Bitcoin could start dumping, and then Fartcoin just takes off like a rocket. Sometimes you take the wins and run.
I did read a comment here that said these guys are too bearish now. I just want to just write it. It's like we're not bearish at all. Like this is, I'm incredibly bullish on this market, and I know I gotta get better at like making sure I'm referring from the difference of just being I'm looking at things like a trader. So like, because I'm trading in the near term. If you're dollar cost averaging, again, realize where we're at. This is the most bullish market in history. Bitcoin's at $104,000 on the precipice of World War III, not being even affected. Even Ethereum, Bitcoin and Ethereum, people that are acting like altcoins aren't doing well. Ethereum is crushing it. I mean, it's been pretty freaking stable the last few months. It's not like it's dropping 80%. It's trading sideways. So Bitcoin, ETH, fundamentally crushing it. For your altcoins, for me, it's like I'm buying. I'm only going to be picking up. And again, we're just, a lot of the Discover family here is blessed. A lot of you are just absolutely goated investors. And you guys saw us accumulating mad when Bitcoin was below 80K. And a lot of these altcoins were still 50% below where they're at today. So we're in fantastic positions with the portfolio. And right now it's kind of like, okay, you can't pretend, right? You got to just play the market how it is. And so right now with the macro environment, in my opinion, it's like trade or you're, dollar cost averaging and accumulate. But for sure as hell, you should not be running now. You should be researching and really focusing on learning which sectors are going to run and hit the hardest as we move forward. Because again, when you start seeing sovereign wealth funds, nation states, these Bitcoin strategic reserves, BlackRock's accumulating, the market manipulation that's taking place, even with what's taking place with Iran. Again, you saw what chat was bringing up, Christopher, not Watkins, but Wallers for the Federal Reserve. There is on the dot plot, Commissioner Jerome Powell is not the only. He's just the chair. There's a lot of commissioners on that, and a lot of them believe we should cut sooner. And so it's going to be a weird few months. And that's why I'm saying, look, you can't, I think it's 50-50. I think it's 50% chance that we do pump to 114. I think it's a 50% chance we do drop to 94K. But I'll tell you is this, if you don't believe me, ask anybody you're watching right now and go, okay, if you really believe it's going to go to 91K, show me that you're shorting your portfolio. I guarantee you most of the people out there, they're not even confident in their own analysis. And so when we're in this uncertain market, that's all we're talking about on the show here, is bringing you guys that breaking news, kind of walking through how the markets are reacting to these absurd, insane, like monumental movements that are happening in, whether it's AI with taking jobs or it's with Donald Trump tweeting out, telling an entire city of 20 million people to evacuate because we're about to bomb the shit out of them. Like, we're going to just navigate that together. So again, I wanted to make that clear. We're very bullish. I'm just a conservative bull. And I think, the price predictions are, not what my focus is right now. It's more or less what's happening in the near term. How do I make money off that? That's the whole purpose of this channel, is how do you make money off crypto? And by the way, we bought Aerodrome. Aerodrome absolutely crushed it. If you guys bought Aerodrome, when we bought it on the channel live with you guys on the day of its bottom at 30, it was like 31 cents, 32 cents. You can go back to the day of this on April 9th or April 8th. Literally, we bought Aerodrome live. That's now up 3x. And I actually might sell it here soon. But that's $3,000 now because we bought a lot of money in Aero back then. So, either way, DZ, take it away if you got anything else there.
Yeah, people bringing up Aerodome in Aerodome. It's because I said that. I called it Aerodome in the video there. Aerodome. In the Aerodrome video, I referenced the older clips, and in the clips, Aerodrome was 20 cents when we first started talking about it. Now, of course, that's the current price action. So yeah, we've been talking about Aerodrome for a long time there. And so if you want to know a little bit more about that, go watch last night's video, folks. We got all the alpha in those videos. Now, we do have the alpha on the X payments. We kind of covered the breaking news yesterday, but we didn't have the details. I just want to throw the details at you real quick. It's from the CEO, Linda Yaccarino. She said the platform's 600 million users will be available to be able to transact their whole life on the platform, from sending money to managing your investments. That's interesting. So they're also considering launching an X-branded credit or debit card potentially later this year. Now, neither Linda nor Elon has confirmed whether crypto payments will be part of the X's financial ecosystem. So you might see some people, Doge is going to be added. It is all speculation. It is all rumors and innuendo. We don't know for sure. But I would say it's highly probable we're going to see Doge, probably stable Bitcoin. I wouldn't be surprised if they launched with like 5 networks. I don't think they only launch with one. I think, they kind of want a big, robust rollout there. So pretty cool stuff there. DZ got no hair to comb. You got that right, folks. I think so hard about crypto just pushes all the air follicles out. And I've been thinking about this right here. Some of these coins, how they are way down once you start getting the VCs all their tokens. And so these are the VC grab fests that started with fairly high fully diluted valuations. Zero, 120 million at a 3 billion fully diluted valuation. Now it's a 2 billion valuation, down 33%. TIA is now down 45%. ZK down 60%. We were promised the ZK technology. World W down 75%. Stark down 90%. And even Polygon, they had a $450 million market cap at a 20 billion fully diluted valuation, is now down to 2 billion, drawdown of 90%. So a lot of strong drawdowns on a lot of those strong VC coins. Now we do have, let's see, there's because of metallic stuff. Oh, I did want to share some stuff. Scaramucci says Solana is going to surpass ETH in market cap. I don't know what you think about that. So he said he's going to flip ETH. And he said this at Digi Assets 2025. Said, I think Sol will turn ETH around. Not that I have a negative opinion. I just understand the Solana story a little bit better. Now, at the time of writing, ETH's market cap, 303 billion. Solana, 77 billion. So if ETH remains stationary, I mean, we know it can do that. So if ETH remains stationary, Solana is going to do essentially a 4x, 3.92x to reach $572 if it were to have ETH's market cap. It looks like the Standard Charter, they disagree. They say Solana is going to 500 2029, but they expect ETH to be trading at $7,500. Now, to determine whether it could actually kill Ethereum, we need to look at the on-chain metrics. So I just want to throw these at you. The daily active addresses, these is people using Solana every single day, 5.2 million, topped out at 10 million in January. So we're at 5 million for Solana. For ETH, only 300,000, topping out at almost 600,000 also in January. So maybe something to keep an eye out on. A lot more people transact with Solana daily versus Ethereum. Josh, do you think these are humans? Some people would counter and say, well, that's all bots. What do you think?
I don't know. I'm just going to say I don't know that answer. I don't think Scaramucci knows that answer either. I mean, it's say anything Ethereum, like go look at what everything's being tokenized on. You know what I mean? I like obviously a lot of these would be bot transactions. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a software engineer that can dive into that technical data. And like, for example, we had a call with Google Cloud the other day for FOMO for a program. Like, if you guys don't know, I've been building this out and we've been doing a lot in terms of the, I began to learn a lot of the back end and understand a lot more how these markets actually move, how the data points are pulled, what access to AI products we have, examples they're giving. And when I'm in this call with Google Cloud, and if you could let's pull up this, Aaron. I just want to show so people know what I'm talking about. Just pull up my screen because I don't know why it won't let me here. There it goes. When we're in the call with them and like I'm explaining what we're doing with our products, our indicators, and the data points we need and how we're tracking it and how to be a better trader and all that type of stuff. They're explaining to me how, the products they have today have already been available. Like the AI products you have today have already been available to these institutions for years and years privately. So it just makes you really think like, how much more information do, these massive hedge funds have, these massive, AI algorithm companies that can manipulate price action based off of an AI model that is trained and thinking way more collectively than a human. So when you go, is Solana gonna flip Ethereum? I have no clue. What I could say is that Ethereum's at least, much more stagnant at this point right now. And if you're looking at ETH-BTC charts, it's being accumulated more by institutions at this moment. But to say that Solana is going to surpass it, I don't know. I don't think Scaramucci can make that answer either. I think it's kind of just
I did a video on it, and in this video we go deep. I go real deep. I cover all types of stuff. I cover a lot of the bridge flows. I cover a lot of the TVL. Give me 2, 1 skip ad there. So let me just kind of briefly run through. So yeah, this is the 7-day bridge flow. So we look at some bridge flows. We look at the Sol Bitcoin, or I'm sorry, the Sol ETH trading pair, what that looks like, and you need to know about this channel breakdown, and about the next potential move if you have exposure to Solana or Ethereum. So highly recommend go back and watch that.
I want to get your thoughts on that too, because in chat, let me know if you agree. It's a question.
And I did the whole video with my eyes closed.
Shouldn't have to be answered there, but do you believe Solana could surpass Ethereum, or do you think that's even something people should be thinking about in today's current market conditions?
Yeah, Solana could pass Ethereum. Should people be thinking about it if they have a big exposure to one of the bags? They certainly should be thinking about it. And a lot of people are going to say no. I think a lot of people are going to say yes. And I think if you ask yourself, well, does my portfolio align with my answer? If the answer is yes, maybe take a step back. That would be all I say. The reason it could pass is if it gets a critical point of X years without downtime, that's when things might start looking a little good. Now, it had a little mini downtime. You can't say the whole chain went down, but it definitely had downtime with the Trump meme coin launch. And so it did show that it can't quite handle the real stressful loads like Ethereum was able to handle those. The only difference was ETH, when it had those high stress pump moments. Bored Ape, Other Lands, Mint is the most recent one that comes to mind. You're just paying $200 gas fees. You're paying $200 to, do some type of swap with a smart contract. You're spending $50 just to send ETH or, Tether somewhere. And so the chain didn't go down, but the insane fees went up. Solana still cheap, but then you weren't able to trade in or out of Trump coin at the time. This was December, I believe. So it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell, but I would say there definitely is a world. All you need is BlackRock to say, make it so, and then it happens. Would you disagree with that? If Larry Fink said, let's make it happen, couldn't he make it happen?
I think he could definitely start crafting a narrative. Yes. So, is it a snap of a finger? Maybe not so simply, but yeah, I think 100%. Like Larry Fink, he literally crafted ESG. When he wants something done, he makes it absolutely happen. And chat's going to completely agree. They're saying absolutely it's inevitable. Or maybe they might be responding to Solana flipping Ethereum there as well, which could be, insane too on that front. But what else we got for the news here today?
Well, I got Cardano. Hold on. Charles, hold on. Yeah, I'm talking about Cardano. I'm live now, Charles. All right. Well, I had a little side message there. All right, Charles in charge. We're talking about Cardano, of course. Charles Hoskin, the founder of Cardano. If this is a fun fact, I haven't shared this in probably half a year. I always like to highlight it. So on Cardano, you can stake ADA. Maybe I did talk about it a couple weeks ago, but you can stake ADA natively within your wallet. You don't have to lock it up. So you could still spend it. You can still trade. You can still send, but it's still quote unquote staked. It's not going to another side and swapping it out for some liquid bull crap. It's actually staked. So if you count that staked ADA, and like it was counted in total value lock like other chains, Cardano would be ranked number 4 with almost $13 billion in TVL, be more than Tron, Arbitrum, and Base combined. So that is a narrative that kind of slips under the radar. Let's talk about this Iagon Ford partnership. We kind of had the big press announce moment, but this is kind of more of the details here. So Ford is seeking to evaluate the use of the blockchain. So it's not like, guaranteed they're putting everything on it, but they're doing an evaluation. This is a large publicly traded company. I would say this is probably normal. And they're going to be using Iagon's decentralized cloud storage technology. I said DPIN is storage, compute, or communications. So this is going to be the storage, obviously. Now, Iagon does have competitors. Josh, what's the top storage coin that you maybe could think of? It's actually kind of hard. I don't even know if might not even have
Filecoin.
Filecoin. Hey, man, it's almost, we didn't plan this, but Filecoin. Filecoin is probably the world's most commonly known storage play. So if you show Iagon with the market cap of Filecoin, you're looking at 196x. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it'd be cool if it did, folks. It'd be cool if it did. And real quick, Cardano is now in the Brave browser. It's in the beta version. It's going to be 88 million monthly active users. Remember, the Brave browser, the BAT holders are going to get the Midnight token airdrop. So if you use Brave browser and you are integrating with the Brave token, you're getting your little rewards every single day. You probably will be participating in that night airdrop. I would say go ahead and get you Get you your passphrase and all that set up. Get your keys there. Get you yourself a Cardano wallet. That's all I got for today, Josh. I'm going to be doing the member stream after this, though.
And we got some breaking news at the BRICS summit, which is happening right now. Russia President Putin says BRICS is launching major initiatives in nuclear, robotics, AI, improving living standards. But alongside that, apparently said Russia and China see a clear way for a new world order. Very interesting. That happened 8 minutes ago here. I love the first comment here. BRICS is useless, but of course you could see the flags in their bio, so they might be defending. A little bias there, but Elon Musk Tesla to open its first showroom in India as well. There's a couple of breaking news that are just rolling out here today. You have just in an hour ago, Coinbase secures license to offer Bitcoin and crypto services across the European Union. There is news that is starting to roll out here today that is looking quite strong, and Twitter is kind of just crazy with the videos here today. But yeah, tonight will be I don't know if I'm going to do. What type of video should I do?
Say what?
What type of video should I do tonight?
Oh man. Well, it's Friday. It's going to be low liquidity. People do like the trading. You know, if you got the cojones to trade on the weekend. Now, I did want to share. This is my algo when I typed in BRICS because breaking news with the BRICS. So I wanted to look here. No, I got this Kim.com little meme post here instead. Testing BRICS Pay at Mickey D's. Let me go ahead and add this in. Okay, boom, boom. This is what my algo decided to give me when I typed in BRICS.
Wait, why are you muted?
Now, if you don't know BRICS, the Brazil, Russia, Iran, China, Saudi Arabia. All right, you guys have gone too far. That's not even AI. That's just good old-fashioned editing right there.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's yeah, we'll get that content out here for you guys. Someone said you should make it. You guys are absolutely wild, guys. Yeah, we'll get that content out for you guys, and we'll be in the Discord, and I'm gonna celebrate my lovely wife's birthday today. So
and Josh, you got an upload coming out tonight. Is that true?
I do. It's gonna be.
Can you tease it?
That's what we were kind of teasing a little bit. It was an Ondo tokenization video, but it wasn't about Ondo necessarily. It was about Robinhood, tokenized equities, and Elon Musk's, of course, trading platform, speculating which projects might be involved with that. What are they going to use to tokenize?
I think I would like to see
going to build on Robinhood?
maybe.
Are they going to build?
Yeah, I would like to see like which altcoin pumps off the X payments,
or which stocks.
What will pump?
Yeah, maybe that's what Robinhood's front running. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to do a deep dive into the Elon Musk. That's the teaser here, though, guys. So if you guys want to know what's this investment app, what is going to be a part of that, we're going to deep dive into this because I don't think people realize this. X has partnered with some cryptos in the past. So we'll kind of bring those up and break that down in this video. But all right, guys, appreciate you for being here. We'll see you soon.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.